Hello everyone! Today's video might end up being a trifle shorter than my average solo review, but I thought this movie deserved a little extra attention. It's titled Invasion, and it's a black and white British sci-fi movie released in 1965. While driving one night, a man and a woman hit a pedestrian who suddenly appears in the road. Despite her protests, she's not the man's wife and she's afraid of scandal, he puts the unconscious victim into the back seat and takes him to a nearby hospital. There, the patient bewilders the medical staff, who struggle to determine who or what they're dealing with. It becomes clear he's not from Earth, and while some military men investigate the apparent landing site of a strange spacecraft, those at the hospital find themselves cut off and at the mercy of extraterrestrial fugitives. I've received 2 recommendations for this movie in the past couple years, and I was interested. It sounded like it would be up my alley. It sounded like something my mom would definitely be on board to watch. But every time I looked it up, I came to the conclusion it wasn't available to watch anywhere. Until last week, when I happened to search for it yet again, and I noticed someone had uploaded it to Dailymotion. Yes, Dailymotion still exists. Long, boring, somewhat embarrassing story short, I finally figured out how to cast non-YouTube videos from my phone to the TV, so my mom and I were able to watch it together on the big screen, and aside from a couple glitches in the beginning, which really weren't that bad, it played great. Invasion was directed by Alan Bridges, adapted from a story by popular television screenwriter Robert Holmes of Doctor Who fame. Prior to watching it, I didn't read anything about it, so I didn't know what direction things might take, and I feel that was a big advantage. You've already lost some of that advantage by watching the first minute of this video, but I'm trying not to give too much away here, since I figure most of you are like me and never heard of this one before. I have put a link to the Dailymotion video in the description if you'd like to check it out. Content advisory: there is a brief shot of nudity in the first few minutes when a soldier holds up the book he's reading. I was not expecting that from a black and white sci-fi movie from 1965, but there you go. I quite liked this film. It is low budget and small scale, but it's creatively shot, and some of the character interactions are kind of fun, with realistic sounding, overlapping dialogue. I was drawn in just by the opening, which shows us glimpses of shadowy figures drifting about in the woods, accompanied by some great music. Bernard Ebbinghouse's score is excellent, combining pounding percussion and I think bassoon with eerie, ethereal voices. You know, that kind of thing. There's a lot that's spooky here, even things that I'm not sure were intended to be spooky, like the unlucky driver's house. It's in the middle of a renovation, and that makes it seem unwelcoming, like no one's supposed to be there. Plus the clutter of old toys, reminders of the man's children that he had with his wife, make the anxious other woman even more uncomfortable and out of place. But what sealed the deal for me was when the film took a darker turn, and it became apparent that this is a more intimate kind of alien invasion movie, the type that has just a small group of characters and a couple locations. The bulk of the action occurs at the remote hospital, where a fog engulfs the property. The 300 patients plus staff become trapped, the phone lines are cut and the heating system shuts off, so everyone inside is overcome by an oppressive heat, which makes them weak and incredibly sweaty. Ugh, this movie is so sweaty, it's disgusting. This calls to mind the fact that leading man Edward Judd was also beastly hot and perspiring in the 1961 apocalyptic film The Day the Earth Caught Fire, which I reviewed several years ago. I wonder if after making these 2 movies he told his agent, "No more sweaty sci-fi stuff, I'm not doing that again." A year after Invasion, Edward Judd was in 1966's Island of Terror, which does bear a few similarities to Invasion. A remote rural location, a small group encountering some kind of being. There's not nearly as much sweat, though. Island of Terror was directed by Terence Fisher and stars Peter Cushing. While I was looking up its release date, I was reminded of Another film, one I haven't watched yet, because I had it on my YouTube watch list and then it disappeared. It must have been deleted, and I forgot about it. Night of the Big Heat, which was also a 1966 release, also directed by Terence Fisher, starring Peter Cushing, this time opposite Christopher Lee. And from what I've read, its characters also languish in a sweltering heat. I'm sure that Edward Judd saw that movie and was like, dodged that bullet. Anyway, these aliens, known as Lystrians, wear very tight rubber suits. They aren't able to speak until they touch someone and pick up their language. And in their civilization, females are the authority figures. But the most curious thing about the Lystrians is that they resemble Asian Earthlings. They are played by Asians, including Malaysian actor Rick Young and Japanese actress Yoko Tani. I wondered if there was some reason why they went in this direction. Was this a British-Japanese co-production, perhaps? But I didn't find any evidence that it was, or any other explanation. The aliens are supposed to be both obviously humanoid and obviously foreign to the area, so I guess this is the solution the filmmakers came up with. There is also a point that plays on the insinuation, the stereotype, the joke, that at a glance to white people, all Asians look alike, all Asians look the same. This is not an opinion that I myself hold. I'm just saying, that is a joke, that is a stereotype, and there are a couple moments in the movie that utilize that. Speaking of resemblances, the female lead, Valerie Guerin, reminded me so much of Emily Mortimer, it was crazy. She plays a feisty doctor called in to examine the Lystrian's blood. She has some passive-aggressive repartee with Edward Judd's doctor, and she could have been his love interest if they had chosen to pursue a romantic angle. There are some things you could take that way, but really, it's viewer's choice. Invasion does have its flaws. Some people may find it slow and uneventful. I didn't, but some people may feel that way. I do think the speed with which the protagonists figure certain things out is unbelievable, and the ending struck me as anticlimactic, making me say, oh, that's it? If they'd had more of a budget, they might have done something a little different. I don't object to the resolution itself, it's the way it plays out that lacks some punch. But I think it still manages to be a pretty good film, even with its smallness and its shortcomings. Its greatest strength may be its atmosphere, which carries the story from the start. I'm not sure about its rewatch potential, but as a first-time viewer, I found it to be an entertaining, enjoyable film. I like the visuals, the music, and the scenario. It has some decent twists, and there were 3 moments that I found startling. I'm not going to say what they were, I'm not going to describe them, I don't want to give anything away, but they really got me. And one of them, the first one, wasn't even related to the plot or anything, it was just the way 2 shots were edited together. The juxtaposition seemed so harsh and cold, and it made me jump, and it really helps to set you on edge. I hope you enjoyed this video. If this movie sounds interesting to you, I hope you'll check it out, and then maybe you can come back and share what you thought of it in the comments below. Next week, I'll be talking about what else I saw in April that I haven't already covered. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.